Okay, so it's week 4. I've remembered to change the sign. And it's positive behavior solutions for behavior problems. So in your handouts this week, there's a whole piece on reframing. It might even have been last week. Talking about how to set your dog up for success. I think one of the ways that positive reinforcement trainers get a bad rap is that there's this perception that we're permissive, and we actually aren't. It's actually a lot harder to teach this way than it is the old way. The old way, you scolded the dog, or some people even hit them, you gave them big corrections, you did a whole bunch of punishment, and most dogs learned. Not terriers, not huskies, not some of the more determined breeds, but lots of dogs sadly learned that way. The problem is what they learned while they were learning not to scoot out the door, which was that their owner wasn't safe, that they could randomly, from their perspective, get yelled at or hit or corrected for doing what dogs do. I mean, dogs go outdoors, it's what they do, and how is your dog supposed to know the difference between going out the door when grandma comes to visit and going out the door when they're going for a walk or they're going with you to the mailbox? So today's lesson is a lot of talking about positive solutions. And so what we did was went around the room and talked about different behavior stuff you have going on and how to work through that using a positive solution instead. So the worksheet's really helpful in that it starts with what don't you want your dog to do, because that's honestly how the calls start. Like, I just want him to stop doing whatever. And I go, okay, well, once we know what we want your dog to not do, what do you want your dog to do? And honestly, sometimes this is where we fall down as owners, right? We don't even really know what we want the dog to do. We just want them to stop doing the thing they're doing. Well, that's a pretty crummy way to go about it, because if I don't know what the dog's supposed to be doing, how the heck are they supposed to figure it out? So, so step 2 is what do you want the dog to do instead? And that can be a multiple choice answer. So let's say we're playing cards. We have friends over and we're all playing cards. My dogs can go and lie down in an adjoining room. They can lie down in their crates. They can be tethered. They can be politely hanging out with us at the table but not pestering for food. In some cases, the old dog can go and sleep in the bedroom because, let's face it, he's 150 years old and he doesn't really want to have to deal with all these house guests. So there are a lot. They can go in the backyard that's fenced and play quietly out there. So there's lots of options for them. I can also tether them. So if I have a dog that's learning what to do, tethering is a win there too. So it isn't that the dog's always constantly doing one thing all the time. It's that we're having some flexibility in behavior, and that we're actually taking the time to teach the dog what we want them to do during these scenarios. I think one of my favorite ones that I get to work on with families is when families are preparing for life with their first baby. We do a lot of work of teaching the dog that the sound of a crying infant means go lay on your bed and mom's going to bring you something good. Because that's a time of really high stress for new parents. There's crying that will happen that you can't make stop because the baby needs to cry to grow. But that can be really disconcerting for the dog and for you too. It can be really nerve-wracking. So classically conditioning, by having your dog experience something positive over the sound of baby cries, getting your dog out from under your feet and giving them a solution. Most dogs, when a baby starts crying, come to their human to seek reassurance and comfort and to make sure everything's okay, because that's a really weird sound from their perspective. So saying, okay, when that sound happens, you run to your bed and cookies happen. 1, reinforces the dog and gets them out from under your feet so you're not tripping, but also honestly makes mom and dad feel better, because they're not now on top of having a fussy baby scolding their dog all the time. So that's kind of a good bare bones explanation. We'll go over lots of them in class, and if there are ever any that you just need help with, I'm usually pretty good at creative solutions for that stuff. So you can feel free to call me, text me, email me, Facebook me, whatever, to get some good ideas. So the big ones that we're going to talk about in class is using greeting routine, because most of you will have a situation where your dog is jumping on people. I've shot other video for that. it's plugged into your homework sheets. So I'm not going to shoot a new one today.